I say to the whole world, India will identify, track and punish every terrorist and their backers. Terrorism will not go unpunished. Every effort will be made to ensure that justice is done. The entire nation is firm in this resolve.
Picture a single river system feeding an entire nation. That's the Indus for Pakistan. This river network is nothing less than Pakistan's lifeblood. Nearly 80% of Pakistan's cultivated land, about 16 million hectares, is irrigated by Indus waters, making it the backbone of food production. About 93% of the water goes to irrigation, sustaining the farms that feed over 230 million people. In fact, the Indus Basin supports about the quarter of Pakistan's GDP through crops like wheat, rice, sugarcane, and cotton. Its waters keep the lights on too. Major dams like Tarbela on the Indus and Mangla on the Jhelum generate electricity for the cities. And urban hubs from Karachi to Lahore drink water from these rivers. In short, the Indus is existential for Pakistan, a true lifeline it can't afford to lose. So what happens if that lifeline is suddenly cut off? This week, that frightening question stopped being hypothetical. In an unprecedented move, India has done the unthinkable. It announced the Indus Waters Treaty of 1960 will be held in abeyance or suspended with immediate effect. This dramatic decision came in the aftermath of the brutal terror attack on April 22nd in Pahalgam. New Delhi claims it found cross-border linkages to Pakistan in the attack, and in response, Indian leaders decided to strike at Pakistan's most sensitive choke point, its water supply.
The Indus Waters Treaty of 1960 will be held in abeyance with immediate effect until Pakistan credibly and irrevocably abjures its support for cross-border terrorism.
Why this move is so significant? For over 6 decades, the Indus Waters Treaty stood as a cornerstone of India-Pakistan relation. Brokered by the World Bank in 1960, the treaty survived the wars of 1965, 1971, and even the Kargil conflict of 1999. It was respected as sacrosanct. Even when bullets flew, the river kept flowing. Not once had either side suspended or exited the treaty. That's what makes this moment historic. India is willing to break an international agreement that endured every crisis until now. The Indus Valley Treaty or IWT has no built-in clause for unilateral termination. Any changes required mutual consent. By suspending, not outrightly quitting, the pact, India found a loophole to pause its obligation without formally voiding the treaty. It's a calculated diplomatic gambit. New Delhi is effectively saying, we won't honor the treaty until you crack down on terror. This raises the stake enormously. So why would India risk destabilizing a pact that prevented water wars for generations? Because from India's perspective, years of restraint haven't stopped cross-border terrorism, and the Pahalgam massacre was the last straw. By suspending the IWT, India is flexing a powerful muscle it has never used, hoping to pressure Pakistan establishment in one area it cannot ignore. Now that India has pulled this trigger, how can it follow through? Can India really turn off Pakistan's water overnight? The answer is not immediately, but it is laying the groundwork to do so. India's dams and canals today can't stop the mighty Indus or significantly alter flows on a whim. But by suspending the treaty, India frees its hands to start building that leverage. It no longer has to abide by the strict limitations that the IWT imposed for Pakistan's benefit. First, India can halt data sharing and cooperation. Under the treaty, India had to regularly share river flow data and give advance flood warnings to Pakistan. That exchange can now be stopped. The result, Pakistan could be left in dark about the impending floods or changes upriver, making it vulnerable to surprise water surges. Inspections too. Pakistani officials used to tour Indian dam sites to verify treaty compliance. But India can now bar those visits, cloaking its water project in secrecy. Second, India can fast-track infrastructure to control the waters. Previously, any Indian dam on the Indus, Jhelum or Chenab had to be run off the river, meaning no large storage that would hurt downstream flows. Now those technical shackles are gone. New Delhi could initiate large storage dams and diversion canals on the western rivers. Treaty in abeyance, India might explore diverting water to its own drought-prone regions, something previously off limits. In the short term, India might experiment with tactical release or holdbacks, letting extra water flow during monsoon to increase downstream flood risk and holding more during lean seasons. Such moves would send a loud warning, even if they don't immediately cripple Pakistan. Third, India has a legal justification ready. Anticipating international pushback, Indian officials point to international law for backup. The Indus Treaty itself doesn't allow unilateral exit, but Article 62 of Vienna Convention lets a country withdraw from a treaty if the fundamental circumstances change. India argues that Pakistan's alleged support for terrorism is a game changer that wasn't envisaged in 1960. So what happens to Pakistan now? In a word, trouble. If this suspension drags on, the effect would be dire. Pakistan's water managers will be extremely anxious. They know their country's water storage is woefully small. Its big dams hold only about 10% of its annual river flows. That means Pakistan can't buffer any prolonged cut or diversions. A bad dry season or delayed monsoon already brings it to the brink. If India uses its new freedom to gradually reduce flows, Pakistan's Punjab heartland would feel the pinch first. Crops would get less water and yields could drop. Food prices could skyrocket and food security would be at the risk. Power shortages would worsen if hydropower reservoirs can't be replenished. In big cities, taps might start running dry on days when the rivers are low. All this could fuel unrest. The Pakistani army, which often sees itself as the guardian against India, would be under pressure to respond. Diplomatically, Islamabad is likely to cry foul in every international forum. We can expect urgent appeals to the United Nations and the World Bank, accusing India of weaponizing water. But will Pakistan rein its militant groups to get India to restore treaty? That's exactly the outcome New Delhi is hoping for. As dawn breaks over the farms of Punjab and the dams of Kashmir, everyone is asking, is this the beginning of a new kind of conflict or the shock that forces Pakistan to sanity?